welcome back. I'm Chris Beach, and this is Evansville High School football. 100 years, millions of memories. We're continuing to look back at the last 100 years of history under the Friday Night Lights here in the River City. Today, my guest is the all-time winningest coach in North High School football, guiding the Huskies to the Class 5A state championship game in 1995. Please welcome Mike Wilson. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here, Chris. Thanks for having me.
All right. So you coached the Huskies from 1989 until 2012. So how did you end up getting the job at North to begin with?
You know, I was sitting in Olney, Illinois, where I was the head coach through the 80s, and I was watching somebody you probably know, Mike Blake, do the sportscast that particular night, and he mentioned that if you want to be the head football coach at North High School, tomorrow is the last day to get your application in. And I happened to have a buddy sitting there that was coming to Evansville the next day. And so my wife kind of whipped up a quick application for me, a resume, and we sent it over with him. And then next thing I know, I get a call a few days later, get an interview. And thank goodness that was a great day for me and my wife.
Very nice. Okay, now, Coach, before you came to North, the football program, it was kind of on rough times. It won only 5 games in the previous 7 seasons, but in your second season, you led the Huskies to their first winning season in 13 years. So how were you able to turn that program around?
Oh, that was a fun year. The first year, we were so close so many times, we just couldn't finish the job. But the second year, I had a remarkable tailback, a young man that died not long later, named Carl Armstead. And I had a quarterback named Brian Hebner that went on and played on USI's national championship basketball team. I still get a chance to play golf with him once in a while. But those two guys were leaders of a really hardworking team that I just really enjoyed coaching. And we didn't have very much. Our numbers were only about 33, 34 kids, so most of the kids played both ways that year. But it was a fun year, and the fans were really excited about that team, and just a thoroughly enjoyable year, that 1990 team.
And it didn't take much longer for you to guide the Huskies to their first sectional championship in 1992, and that was your first of 5 sectional titles. So tell me, how did it feel when you first got North that elusive sectional championship?
You know, coaching at North High School is a lot of peaks and valleys, and that 92 team, that was definitely a peak. We had Buster Grayson and Rodney Gibson and Scott Ames, a bunch of real good football players that year. And they really overachieved. We'd had a lot of injuries the year before, but their senior year, everybody was healthy, and they really worked hard. And that was really a fun year for us, that 92 team. We beat Harrison in the sectional finals, who had beat us earlier in the year. So it was really a great year for North football.
Well, in 95 was an even bigger year for North football, obviously. Undefeated season, sectional title. You defeated Martinsville in regionals. You beat a powerhouse Ben Davis team at semi-state before you went to Indianapolis and played in that 5A state championship game against Penn. So just discuss, what was that season like for your program?
Well, that was a dream come true for me and my coaches and players and all the North football people that year. And probably the most exciting games that year were 2 games we played against Wrights. Wrights had a tremendous football team that year. We just happened to have our best ever. But Wrights was definitely one of the best teams in the state. But we beat them down at Central Stadium on the last play of the game in the regular season. Then we beat them in the sectionals. Another game that went down to the wire. We had a big fullback named Casey Sellers that everybody that watched football at that time knew. And what a backfield. We had Casey, we had Casey at fullback and Deke at tailback, and then Kareem Neighbors at quarterbacks. That made one of the greatest backfields probably in the history of Evansville football. But those 2 games, along with the big one, was the win against #1 team Ben Davis up at Indianapolis. And we had quite a crowd that came from Evansville that night to watch the Huskies. And what a great win that was for North football and for Evansville football.
Probably the best win ever for the football program. And you mentioned him, Deke Cooper. He was a big star player on your team that year. He went on to play at Notre Dame. He played several seasons in the NFL. So what impact did Deke Cooper have on that 95 team?
Well, we were fortunate enough to have the greatest football player I ever coached that year, and one of Evansville's greatest players without a doubt. And not only was he a great athlete and a great player, but he was a great leader and such a good man. We were also proud of him. Everybody from the sophomores and to the superintendent of the school corporation, everybody thought he was fantastic, and he was, and he still is to this day. And he was just one of those gifts that a coach gets maybe once in a lifetime. That was Deke, and I was so fortunate to have him.
Amazing player, amazing person. Now, after you left, North football, they did have a few rough seasons, but they're coming off 2 seasons with 500 records. They're becoming very relevant in a very loaded, very tough SIAC. So what are your thoughts on the Huskies football program today?
Well, I really like Coach Perriton, and I think he's really put a good staff together. I can't recall the quarterback's name, but he's going to be coming on his 3rd straight season, and I think he's exceptional. And they've really got it turned around. I think they're going to have an exceptional team this year, and the sky's the limit. The facilities, that stadium is just fantastic out there in the weight room and everything. So they've really got a lot going for them, and I think North football is going to really be outstanding here in the next decade.
Well, North football, definitely a team to watch next season and for the next many years. Coach Wilson, you certainly left a big impact on North football and Evansville High School football altogether. So thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and you have a good one.
Thanks so much, Chris.
All right, Coach Mike Wilson, all-time winningest coach at North High School. Well, be sure to continue to join us on TriStateHomepage.com as we celebrate Evansville High School football. 100 years, millions of memories. We'll see you on the next drive.